So good morning everyone, and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Day. Today's edition is a little bit different because instead of showing you recipes of my own invention, we're going to be trying out some viral social media recipes together. First one though is not from TikTok, unlike the others, because I just want a really simple breakfast. So I've made this one before, and it's from Instagram. It's from Frank Princesano's videos or stories, Instagram stories, his most famous one for sure. And all you need for it is an egg, a single egg. So we're gonna do that in a nice fry pan. I'm gonna be using cast iron, but he does recommend a stainless steel pan that's been nicely seasoned. I have that too, but I feel like using cast iron this morning, so I'm gonna use cast iron. So egg, he and I differ on cast iron. He doesn't like it, he likes stainless steel. I have a cast iron pan that's the perfect size for one egg and yields a very good result. So we're gonna do that. By the way, right now I'm running a giveaway for a 5-quart Le Creuset. Go and enter that giveaway for some beautiful kitchen equipment sent to the giveaway winner. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. I shared that in my recent home tour video if you want to see a little bit more of a sneak peek at what my house looks like. Let's make some breakfast. What I like about Frank's videos is that he encourages people to be the masters of their own kitchens and diets. So, you know, to really eat things that you know what you've put in it and put a lot of love into, make it your own way, find your own flow in the kitchen, and stop being so reliant on precise measurements, because you will never find true joy in the kitchen, baking excluded, you know, with just cooking meals, until you step away from the recipes, I think. So I completely agree with him on that, just not on cast iron. So I'm gonna make a piece of toast as well, so I'm gonna pop this into the toaster. I normally make eggs with butter, but he makes his with oil, so we're gonna do the same thing. A light coating on the whole of the bottom of your pan, and then you want a nice farm fresh egg. And you probably want a piece of toast as well to dip into your delicious eggs. Alright, crispy egg time. My oil is starting to smell. Try not to break your yolk. And I totally broke the yolk by standing too far from the pan. I'm going to use some good, this Hawaiian sea salt. And some pepper. And we now have the first fail of the day. Where else will this video take us? Probably to pretty delicious but slightly imperfect places. You want a really high heat for this, but not too crazy high. The fact that the white has bubbled like that is a good sign. You want it to go nice golden brown underneath, but to set completely on top. So I can live without making my egg with butter, but I definitely can't live without buttering my toast. So butter that while it's still hot, and we are pretty much done actually. So I'm just gonna spread this a little bit, and look at that. So I think it's called the albumin. The white of the egg is completely set. You can see we still have some jiggle even despite the fact that I broke my yolk. See? Oh yeah, look at that. Maybe this won't be a fail video after all. I'm gonna mop up that yolk with a little bit of bread. So good. Nice difference in flavor and texture between the very thin, crispy bits here from that high heat. And in French cooking, we don't like to cook egg on high heat because it produces a slight bitterness, but sometimes you can actually use that to your advantage and then get a nice difference in texture and flavor. Okay, so lunchtime, we're gonna try the tortilla TikTok hack. My best tip without ever having tried this, so we're gonna try this together, is to get a really good tortilla. This technique is gonna limit how much filling you can use, so you want to get the best tortillas you can find because you're really going to taste it. So check the ingredients, because if there's a lot of chemicals in them and preservatives, I can taste it. And so it's not even like a health thing, it's not going to taste very good. So you want to split it kind of like so, that's probably about right. And then we're going to do 4 quadrants with the split in the middle. And I'm a little bit skeptical about both this recipe and the one we're gonna try for dinner, and here's why. This is why I'm not on TikTok, because I'm so skeptical about everything. So A, you're not gonna be able to put as much filling as you would normally into a quesadilla, which is fine with me, because if you use good flavorful fillings, it'll be good. But you're not going to get as much browning as I ever normally would. So a lot of the surface area of the tortilla is going to be on the inside. So it's going to be a different texture, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but we'll find out together. So these are going to be toppings over here. But then on the inside, we have 4 quadrants. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a roast chicken dinner inspired tortilla. And by roast chicken dinner, what I mean is we're going to use leftovers from a roast chicken that I ate a few days ago. So let's do the chicken first. I'm going to use some of the breast meat because it's a little bit easier to shred. And I'm trying to figure out where it should go. Let me know if you've figured out any techniques in terms of what goes where, in terms of the more you know, cheese and sauce ingredients versus the meat or vegetable, more solid ingredients. I'm not sure if there's a trick with that or not. But like I said, you don't want to overfill it or it's going to be an explodey mess. So let me do probably about this much chicken. There's a little bit of lemony gravy on it, and I'm totally okay with that. Watch me just like continue to put more and more stuff on it when you're not supposed to. This is romesco, and it's a red pepper salsa, but it's not really, you know, any kind of traditional salsa. This is definitely a fusion quesadilla, but still quite honestly less weird than a lot of the combos I've seen. On top of my romesco, I'm going to put some cheese. So I've got some Asiago here with rosemary. You can see it's got a rosemary crust. And so I think that's going to complement the chicken really well. I feel like it's too much, so let's do this. And then finally, what's super convenient, I know this is quite wasteful because they're individually packaged, but I purchased this for a snowshoe hike. So this is the little Tillamook individually packaged cheddar. And, you know, I don't recommend that you get this just for this, but because I had them, I thought it would be so cute. So we're just gonna cut it up into a few pieces because I want it to melt well. But it's a perfect amount for one of these quadrants. So we're gonna do opposite quadrants of cheese, like so, and see how that turns out. And then in the final quadrant, what I have at the very bottom here with that roast chicken is some butternut squash. So again, those kind of fall type of flavors that I'm not too sick of yet because it's not pumpkin. This is a roasted butternut squash, and this could definitely make your quesadilla mushy if you overdo it, so I'm going to leave it at that. I've tried to do is to avoid creating too much of a wet situation and to still have a good amount of cheese, because if I don't have a good amount of cheese in there, I know I won't like it. So I want to like this. I think it's cute, so I'm gonna fold it up like so. That was actually easier than I thought it would be. So I usually always use a dry pan for quesadillas, so that's what we're gonna do here. And then we will flip it, try and make sure all the cheese is melted. Okay, so I think I was pretty correct in my prediction that this would be a little bit more wet and oozy than a normal quesadilla, but I also think it looks more delicious than I thought it would be. So I'm going to cut it in half, show you the inside. You can see it's a little bit oozy on the side, but not too much. I'm quite excited for that butternut squash. It's juicy, the chicken is fully heated through. And it doesn't look dry or disappointing, so I'm going to dip a little bit into the sour cream, but otherwise I've got some green salsa, but I'm just going to try it plain on its own for my first bite. was a good roast chicken I made. It's really good. The butternut squash is bomb. Really good. If you think that's a lot of sour cream, what's your point? So far, big thumbs up for the viral meals so far today. This recipe has taken the internet by storm. I feel like it's everywhere. A lot of the food-based channels on YouTube that I follow have made this as well. I feel like I've done my homework on it, even though I'm not on TikTok, so if I get something wrong, forgive me. And it just doesn't look very good according to my pasta standards, which are that I really like sauces to be velvety. And feta baked and just mashed into a sauce with some roasted cherry tomatoes, which is always a good idea. I love that original recipe roast cherry tomatoes, because you just get so much wonderful flavor out of that without doing anything, literally no effort. So I like that, but the feta just stays chunky, and I didn't have to make it to confirm this when I saw Laura Vitale, whose opinion I trust. I followed her for many years. She follows me too, which is just like heart. Is that the proper heart? She used a food processor to make it creamy. So when I saw her pull out the food processor, I was just like, okay, no, cut me out of this. I don't want any part of this. It's just too many dishes. And for a viral recipe, the quesadilla, 100%, right? I meant that. So easy, so tasty, and kind of, you know, it's got that viral kind of fun thing to it with the folding. But this lost me at the chunkiness that you get with that feta, as well as the fact that it's going to be so salty. So what I decided to do instead is to do a combination of two things that I've seen other people do on YouTube. So Laura said that another option is to make it with ricotta. So I got some decent but not fantastic ricotta from my grocery store. And then the other version I saw on Instagram was to use goat cheese. So I'm going to do half and half, and we're gonna see how it turns out. I feel like it's still a good test of this recipe. And by now, if you have an internet connection, you know how to make the feta one. You don't need me for that. But we're gonna try something else and see if we can end up with a good result without, you know, complicating the recipe any further with more tools or kind of strategies or anything. So I'm going to put some olive oil on my already washed tomatoes. Oh my gosh, can you believe I almost forgot the garlic? So one of the tricky things about this recipe is that it only goes in the oven for about 20 minutes, which is not really long enough to properly roast garlic. And so I know Laura mentioned that. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still gonna try. She did the garlic on the side with some shallots, which did look delicious, but like I said, I have thought about it and determined I'm too lazy for that. It's just, you know, a whole other thing then. I think the point of this whole viral thing is to have it be low effort, but if you want a more sophisticated version, definitely check out Laura's. So I'm cutting the garlic thing in two, the bulb of garlic in two, in the hope that then it'll roast faster. I don't think it's gonna be raw, and you know what, even if it was, I love garlic, so I don't know, I think it'll be okay. First, I'm hoping this is not too wet, because then it's not gonna roast properly if it is super wet. And it's okay. Okay, it's pretty firm, because different ricottas have different textures. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do half the ricotta. We're just gonna put it in the middle, just like people do with the feta. There we go. Kind of olive oil, right? I think, you know what? It's actually really good. Never mind, I thought, because it's not an Italian brand, that it wouldn't be very good, but organic garlic, that's tasty. And then I've got some Californian goat cheese. See how strong it is. Okay. You know how some goat cheese is really sour? This isn't like that, which is good. Because I'm hoping the outcome of this isn't going to be like a goat cheese flavored dominant pasta. I want it to be a little more subtle than that. You know what makes me happy about this recipe, aside from all my griping? Sometimes I feel like I'm the only YouTuber person online who still eats carbs and cheese in significant amounts on the daily, but apparently I guess this proves that, I don't know, maybe, you know, in 2021, a year into this pandemic, even the influencers have thrown out their no carb rules. I don't know. And my way of still paying homage to the original is to use this actually really good Greek hand-picked organic oregano that is quite delicious on potatoes. So should I put a little more? Let's put a little more. Why not? It has a wonderful smell. You know, it's got a really fresh smell despite being dry. Okay. So that goes on top. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. I mean, I've seen people add other stuff, but I really want to keep it simple. It is very beautiful. So I'm going to pop this into the oven. I'm going to keep a little more of an eye on it than I think you have to with the feta, because I feel like when cheeses could burn relatively easily. So I'm probably going to give that a mix in about 10 minutes. I'm going to chiffonade my basil, get my water boiling, put this stuff away, and then I will catch up with you. It's been half an hour because after 20 minutes, those tomatoes were just mushy and not anything that's gonna make a good sauce. And I thought about it and realized that every roasted tomato sauce thing I've ever made bakes for at least 35 minutes, if not longer. So it has now been 30, and look at that. And I was a little worried about the cheese burning, but it's perfect. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm just gonna mash it all together. Put my basil in. Look at that. This is actually like, it's gonna be a good dinner. I'm excited. And look at that. That cheese is melting in, and it's not curdling like the chunky feta, and it's not gonna be too salty or weird. I'm excited. I'm so hungry. Little ears. That's what orecchietta means. Just kind of creepy in a good way. All right. When I cook, I get excited and then I get injured. But thank goodness they're always like little things. And totally worth it, I think. So you always want it to be like a little creamier, looser than you want it to be when you serve, because by the time you actually put it in your mouth, it's gonna have to thickened, and that's how you end up with like overly dry pasta, which is something I've learned. If you wanted to blend this, you could, but I like the chunky pieces of tomato. If you buy, you know, decent tomatoes, the skins shouldn't be tough. It's fiber. It's good for you. Okay. Ordinarily, you know, I would put some Parmigiano on this, but I won't, because I want to just taste the sauce and see what I think of it. So, by the way, I got a case of wine from Naked Wine, but I have no relationship to them. I mean, I wish that that they knew who I was, but they don't. But it was a really good deal, and I'm really happy with it. So if anybody wants wine, you could try it. I'm pleased with every bottle that I've opened so far. It's nicely balanced. Really good. You gotta do the basil. Because you know what? That's kind of what shines through. And then I'm getting like this kind of sweet, tart tomato flavor. And then it's just kind of creamy. You want some? Yeah. Yeah, you could go more cheesy on this and it would be okay. It would not taste overwhelming. I really like how subtle this is. I'm gonna let you go, but there's a bonus for this video, and I'm gonna say something bold. If you only make one thing from this entire video, make the bonus. Everything I ate today was on point, really good, exceeded my expectations, but this stew that I'm about to show you, if you like stew, lose your socks, it's so good. It's perfect, and it's like the end of the season when you want to be eating stew, but you still want to eat stew right now. Go make it. Go make all of these things. Go cook. Enjoy cooking. It's the best. If you have a bad day, cooking a delicious meal, always make it better. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next installment on style.